Hello guys and welcome to another video. Before we get started with it, I want to say the next. I am not a financial planner nor a financial advisor. I am not FCA approved. I'm not approved by any institution that allows me to give financial nor investment advices. Nothing mentioned in this video should be considered investment advice or guidance. Everything shown, talked, and explained is for pure and only educational purposes. The risk is on your own hands. Enjoy. Hello guys and girls, welcome to another video, another backtesting session, commented as the last one. I'm going to be, just doing that, backtesting. I think I'm going to continue with the week next to the one that we did last time. Last time it was the 14th, I remember it was here. So 14 plus 7 is 21. 2021 at 6 a.m. Will that work? Yeah. Okay, so first of all, even though I don't really do this that much, we'll analyze the 1 hour structure. We have a 1 hour order block here. I'll draw it like that. No, let's actually just draw it with the order block drawing. Okay. To call it somehow. And yeah, that's pretty much it. What I do see here though is a flip. It's an STD flip. And that flip was basically caused by this, well, we could call the whole area, we could go for the refined or the block, which in my opinion will be best in this case, but we'll draw the whole area just to be careful with it. So let's put it like this, and I think that's pretty much it. I don't really like going for 4 hours and stuff like that, as it doesn't make much sense being in an intraday basis. We'll do as we did last time, which basically was from 6 a.m. all the way up to 12 p.m., which is somewhat of the way that I trade, although lately I've been getting up at 7, as I found out that's pretty beneficial. I get to sleep and I don't really miss out on much. So yeah, first structure that I see, or first thing that we encounter is, well, the fact that we flipped on the 1 hour. Not only that, but we created a 1 hour bullish order block that we have below us. We pushed higher. If you have seen the patterns, well, not patterns, but setups that I trade, this is somewhat of a complex pullback, although at the same time it could be the pattern enemy 2. If I remember how I called it, I gotta change the names, which is the fake complex pullback, as it is leaving a lot of liquidity below it, so I would expect something like this, more than a continuation to the upside, because we have a lot of liquidity below us, and well, we don't have an extended push up, so yeah, we'll see. Let's just let price run for a little bit. Let's see what it does. Not really interested in taking anything for now. That pause right there, it does look kind of cool, but it's not something that I would just go for, right? So we flipped now, right? We broke this. Let's call this as our flip. We could have our break now. Let's see if we're reacting to something. If we're reacting to something, then I might go for something, but otherwise, I just gonna skip it. And it is somewhat of a pause. Has somewhat of liquidity. There is some liquidity above it, as you can see. I don't know. I mean, I like it. I like the area and everything, but I don't entirely love it. Let's go for the extreme. I don't really like the risk on this one, but let's go for the extreme. I don't know why I drew it so far. Go for this. As you can see, I'm not actually using an order block. I'm just choosing somewhat of an area, as I do kind of just want to have a big space to it, because it could react lower than expected and basically just miss me entirely. I'm kind of starting to analyze, stuff like, let's see what happens here. There's a good reaction, not gonna lie. Keep in mind that we already have our flip and our break. I've said that I like going for the cause, but in this case, I don't know. I don't really like the trade at all. I don't really like where it actually happened. I do like the fact that we do have the flip and the break, so that's a pretty good confluence. But since it did kind of happen in an area that, in my opinion, it's not as important as an area that I would actually like to see price reacting to for me to actually take a trade just with the flip. And that's the reason why I'm going for the extreme. I mean, I prefer miss out on this in case this continues to go lower than to take a loss there. Price goes to the extreme and falls. Because, well, I don't like the risk on it since the beginning. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. It broke it pretty fast. Well, now I'm not entirely liking it, although we do have liquidity. That's something to keep in mind. Some little equal highs, but they're equal highs, right? Kind of breaking lower. When I have some structure like this, as you can see, there's a lot of wicks. As an example, for me, a strong push is something like this, like that. This push down. There are not a lot of wicks. This is just filled with wicks. So, yeah, just I don't really like this. And when I have a structure like this, I either go for the extreme or I just ignore it and expect price to basically just take all over that. Go all over that. I don't remember where my entry was, but let's just call it that. Not quite scared of the buys because we're not really reacting to anything. The only area that I would have been careful with would have been this. And here we could have taken a confirmation entry, right, as we do flip. But yeah, it just didn't look good either, to be honest. We're creating even more liquidity, so I'm liking more and more this trade. Although we have pushed very strongly into this order block. Well, order block, or whatever you want to call it. I think it was a little bit lower. Okay, and it went right through. That's a shame. So I didn't like the risk since the beginning. It just looks, I don't know, pretty weird. Not gonna lie. Why do I have a line there? Oh, the order block. Okay. So yeah, let's just draw what we have. I see liquidity here. Below this area, I don't really see much, which kind of causes me to, well, hate this because, well, if I was to trade something here, the only area that I actually could go for is this, right? And not because, well, basically because it's literally the only thing, right? But the bad thing about that is that it is a pretty good range, clean range, equal highs, equal lows. But what I actually like in a range is for it to take the liquidity that it has within itself, if it has liquidity, of course, and then push higher, right? So it takes the liquidity above, takes the liquidity below, price goes higher, comes back to mitigate the extreme or pause, whatever it is, and then just continues, right? So I don't love it, but I've seen a lot of cases where price basically just does respect the order block, the range, sorry, with liquidity and everything. We could have taken a risk entry here, as we have a pause, and that pause happened right before this major break that we have here, right? And price basically creates a low, creates a high, breaks the low, comes back up. This is a flip, comes back down. This could have been an entry that would have led to a stop loss. I don't know. Maybe I missed it, but I don't like it now, of course. We flipped, right? We broke we actually didn't break that demand. So actually, we could be within this trade still. Sorry. Well, yeah, within this trade, yes, but not within that one. Okay, so we basically broke structure. Well, we flipped. We just flipped for now. The cost to that flip is this pause, but if not very little. Plus, I don't like the structure itself doesn't give me that much of a good vibe, to call it somehow. if I wanted to trade something here, I might go for something like this to take the liquidity of, well, basically this high and this high, but still doesn't make that much sense. I'm starting to kind of want to take a risk entry on this, not gonna lie. We don't really have that much liquidity, as the liquidity that basically was created as an example these lows, and this lows was taken already and could continue to be taken if it continues to go lower. Let's just let price play out a little bit more. And price actually respected that area. And now we do have the opportunity to take a DCE, or sorry, a CE in this case, confirmation entry. Going in the on the open, I don't want to draw it just in case it doesn't happen, and it doesn't seem like it's going to happen, and it's already too late. So I was thinking about taking a risk entry here, but let's just not for now. We'll see what happens later. We do have a flip there, so we could be going for something like this, right? But it has barely tapped this, so I don't entirely love it. And we did flip. It is a minor structure, but we did flip. Let's just let it play for now. Let's just, that's a good reaction, but not at the same time. Okay, now we're reacting to the low. Starts to go up again. See, at this point, I even like this one better than this one, to be honest. And we didn't break that, but we did break this. But no, I'm not gonna go for that. Let's just let price do its thing. Actually, what do we have on the other side? So flip here, break here, price reacting to this. Have extreme. The extreme comes from mitigating basically this structure. We do have somewhat of liquidity. Okay, so what we could say is, well, we do have somewhat of an entry here that we basically missed out on, which is kind of working cool for now. After that entry, we get this. It's weird thing that basically we could have traded just like this with a, well, 30 ticks stop loss, which will be running. Of course, I'm not in this, so I'm not gonna let it run. So I think I'm actually going to go for this, but I kind of want to break that too, but at the same time I don't. So let's go for this. Let's go for this on the 25, because for me to be mitigated, to be triggered in, basically, I need a good margin to be basically mitigated. Here's an example. We could go above this area. At the same time, we could be aiming for something inside of the order block. As an example, I'm not gonna lie, I do like this extreme on this thing, so let's just draw that range. Could get there. I guess we'll see. That's more than 10 hours. Let's just go for 10 hour. I'm going for this because I'm starting to see all of this structure, right? All of this as a complex fallback, right? So basically, big move, big breath, big continuation, right? So that's why I'm kind of going for something a little bit extra. At the same time, I definitely go above these equal highs, because if it does work out, it should take that liquidity at the very least. So let's just see what happens. Not sure if I can, well, yeah, I'm triggered now. And I'm triggered out. So I don't like the way that this whole structure is moving. It's just going very counteracting, still respecting this area. At the same time, it's just very correctively. That's the thing that bothers me the most. Because we could be trying to sell, right? But the structure is just, I don't know, it's just very ugly. We do have a lot of liquidity. All of this is liquidity. All of this liquidity, and we have these equal highs up here. So I do see a lot of reasons for price to go higher. I see we have a flip here. Let's do the. Well, let's see what happens. I mean, at this point, we could be taking a risk entry here, right? Okay, let's go for that. I'm going to go on the open, just saying because I don't want to draw it. Okay, so a range, push up. What do we have later? Kind of already reacted to that range. Still liking it, not gonna lie, because we could count this as a break of structure. It took liquidity. The only area that kind of bothers me is this sell right here. I'm gonna go with this range because I don't know, it just looks clean. Alright, so we have a range before a couple of breaks. We have the break of this, we got the break of this. Actually, that didn't happen just yet. What happens next? Well, it did break it. Okay. When I have extreme that it's kinda low, like that. So let's say you have, say this is our flip, right? We have something like this. That's our flip. Our extreme is so low that I usually go for the range, and the range is what usually works out the most. At the same time, this counts like range before flip in this case, and that works out better, right? But yeah, another reason for me to not go for that. It's just a little bit too far. Now, if let's say we did something like this, right, with critical lows, and we push higher, at that point, this could be a longer term type of trade. I basically could do something like this, come back, mitigate the extreme, take the liquidity and everything, and then continue to go higher. But for now, I'm going to go for the range, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to go on the 25. I kind of want to go on the 50 as the range is kind of big. Let's call it 25. But if I go for the 50, I might not be triggered in. Let's go for the 10R. I don't see the need to go. Let me turn on the light. I'll pause for a sec. Okay. I was getting blinded with the monitor. So we were going for this. Let's just let it play. Strong push down. Not quite something that I love. I think we're triggered. Though I couldn't really say for sure. Oh, okay. I want to think that I would have been triggered. We're talking about 6 ticks inside. Yeah, let's say we were triggered. Okay, so that's a pretty strong candle. We could see price basically coming back down to this and then continue it to go higher, as it is a pretty good range of 2 candles. Oh, okay. That didn't wait too long. I'm not really loving the way that this is reacting. It is a range before a major break. Of course, my stop loss is a break even at this point. Could have closed somewhat of, partials or something like that. I'm gonna move my stop loss to maybe here to secure some profits, But yeah, I'm not quite loving it. Oof. Okay. Oh, I got to target. Oh, that was so close. Okay. If we would have targeted to that high, let's see if price actually gets there. Yeah, it did. I don't think it's going to respect that high. Okay, so that's plus 10R. We got 2 losses and a good wing with a big target, basically. Let me get my cell phone. Okay, so we got a pretty big impulse, not gonna lie. So this is pretty impulsive move, basically. So I'd like to wait for new structure. When I say I would like to wait for new structure, either new patterns or as an example, a flip and a break, stuff like that. This could be a trade as an example. We have a pause. Price came back, mitigated that pause, and now we could be going for the DCE. But yeah, I'm not gonna go for that. What do we have on the other side? We flipped. This mitigated this. This mitigated this. This could be a good sell. but we don't really have the confidence to actually go for it. We do have a lot of liquidity. Oh, we even have equal highs here. Equal highs there. No, I don't have the equal highs thing. Okay. And then we have all of basically, well, actually, let's just do it like this. More liquidity, of course, leading towards this, right? Which is the cause to this substructure break. We do have a flip, don't we? Oh, actually, well, yeah, very minor flip. I do like the sell due to the liquidity that he has, but I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't look that good, not gonna lie. I'd go for the 50 because all the liquidity is kind of leaning towards that area. What's the stop loss? 21, yeah, 25. Maybe with half risk. What time is it? 11:50. Probably would have just skipped this trade. I'm gonna mute myself to sneeze. Okay, that was fake sneeze, I guess. So I like the trade, but I do see that we do have somewhat of reasons per se to go down, right? Bottom, sorry. Yeah, let's go for it, but with half risk. Let's see what happens. It's actually respecting it. Oh, okay. Actually worked out great. When it got in that fast, I didn't think I was going to actually go for it. It did go for that liquidity, so that's good. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So if we would have gone for the full 5R, that would have been 1.25, but we went half risk, so that's basically 65, right? Yeah, 60, so 0.65% there. So basically covered for the two losses. This is 2.25% profit, so let's actually do as we did the other time with the small notes. Let's create a new one. So Monday, I'll probably do 2 days or 3 as we did the other day. So we got minus 0.25, minus 0.25, plus 2.25, 2 plus 0.50 actually, as it is 1.25 per 5R. And then we got plus, how much do we say, 0.65? Yeah, okay. So basically have 2.16% profit for the day. Okay, let's continue now to Tuesday. Let's do it quick. I really want to. I think I spent a lot of time on this day. Well, 22 minutes actually, not that bad. Okay. What do we have in the 1 hour? We actually broke that area. We have somewhat of an area now here, but let's just continue to do the thing. Talking about 5. There we go. Let's go down to 1 minute. Check the messages. Oh, actually, let's do the 1 hour thing. Well, we are reacting to a bullish short of the block, very short of the block, sorry, in the 1 hour, as you can see here. We have this still. Did we break it? We actually haven't broken it, but yeah, no, we did. Let's just forget about that one. I do want to continue to have this one, as it could easily work out. Or cause somewhat of a reaction at some point. And if price in the 1 minute actually retraces or does something, we'll see what we can do. Oh, I mean, I've come back to draw the 1 hour order blocks that we have there. I'm kind of feeling laggy, the browser, not quite sure why, but let's just forget about it. So, very continuous push down. This for me, if I would have been alive, well, not alive, but if I would have been up for this move, I would have considered this as a fake range, so I would have expected price to do something like this. But I do see that we come from a pretty prolonged move. At the very least, I expect somewhat of a big pullback, such as that one and this one, and then a continuation to the downside, but it's more likely that we'll actually go higher. And what do we have on this one? Do we have liquidity or something to say? Not really. So let's just let it play for a little bit. Do have potential sell here as I mitigated this, and this caused this. So I guess we could go for that sell. It's still pretty early in the morning, so let's just not. Although it does come from something, yeah, but now we gotta take this. So I'm taking this because this pause caused this break, came back to mitigate that. Then we caused another break, have somewhat of liquidity there. Now we mitigated that. We broke down and we expected another continuation, right? So the continuation trade should have been this one here, right? As we have first mitigation and now comes the mitigation, the continuation, sorry. And now this third trade for me, I usually wouldn't trade the third. I don't know, I just think that it's very prolonged. But let's go for it, you know. Let's maybe make an example out of this one. And say, oh, you were right or you were wrong. That we're about to see. So that seems good. We even break the low with the entry, so yeah. But the trade, not the entry. A strong movement. Oh, okay. Well, that didn't last that much. So what I was trying to say is that, well, when the continuation for me is the first trade of continuation, right? So this is the first mitigation, this continuation, the first continuation, and if it comes up for a third, I've seen cases where it works out, but most of them are just no, you know, it just doesn't work. Not quite sure what it's doing. Did it react to anything? Continues to respect this pause there, but I'm not quite liking it either. Kind of respecting the extreme. Took the liquidity there, so that's good. If I wanted to sell, I'd sell here, but for now, this is our confirmed low, this is our confirmed high. We've broken major structures, so I expect this continuation to happen. Oh, okay. Well, that would have been a good sell, I guess. But as I said, it's just substructure sell. Alright, so would have hit target? Definitely. I would have gone for 25 at the very least. But yeah, I just don't love it. And we'll continue to take liquidity, and we haven't broken either the low or the high. So for me, for now, it's not trade. Although if I wanted to trade something, I definitely buy. I wouldn't go for a sell. Did we break that? Nah. So I hate this, right? I think I talked, I don't know if it was on this video or another video, when I have price action like this, very weaky or very rangy push up, I usually either go for the extreme or stay away from it. In this case, I won't go for the extreme, of course, but I will draw it just to see if anything actually happens there. At the same time, we have tapped this and respected it. We kind of flipped there, and we are creating liquidity here, right? So that liquidity can be, well, either beneficial or, well, painful. I don't know, you know, like it can either work for us or work against us. So that's another area that I want to keep my eye on, this whole thing basically. But I'm not trading either of these areas. Yeah, that one didn't work out that well. Potential entry here on this pause, but at the same time, I think this is the type of pattern that I say that, you know, you have somewhat of a stare and you have a major break and you expect this to work because that's the cause, and price does this, right? Falls, takes all of the liquidity, maybe reacts to the extreme, right, and continues to go higher, or just continues to push lower, right? So the pattern, the enemy one, pattern enemy one, fake, no, the stairs. I think that was the name. I love naming things. So basically it didn't work. Well, we'll see if this one does anything. Actually it did. Oh, okay. That actually worked out. So, yeah. Let's give it a draw. E1. did we react to anything? But we didn't cause a flip, so I can't really trade that. We could consider this a complex pullback and an entry on basically this area to actually go higher for. I don't know, I just don't really like the way that it was generated, you know. What do we have on the buy side? On the sell side, sorry. Couple of good areas. We have a lot of liquidity taken here by this order block. Is that somewhat of an extreme? Yes and no. This is liquidity. I kind of do like this pause, but this took liquidity, so I kind of prefer that one for now. No, I won't draw that one. I do see liquidity there, so if I was in that buy, I would like to aim at this area, or at least at this equal highs that we have there as somewhat of a target. But yeah, kind of respecting that range. Continues to respect it. Okay. Well, actually, let's play somewhat of a trade on the 25 and see if it actually comes back to mitigate us. But to be honest, for me, this is not worth trading. The reason why I actually didn't place it or trade it just before this. Now it has liquidity, so it's a little bit of another confluence, you know, so might give you something, but yeah, just don't like it enough. This type of ranges, when you have a pause right before the break, I love them. To be honest, I've seen a couple of times where the price comes back to mitigate them, and I don't know, I just like them. I just like them very much. It actually caused this major break, so I'm actually going to go for that. What I want people to actually know, when I do these backtesting sessions, I try to talk mostly about my thought process, because I believe my thought process is what you can get the most value out of. Not because I got a pretty good thought process, right? But I believe that if you see the steps that I take, it can lead you to do similar steps and maybe get similar results to mine, which are not great, but they're good. At least I'm happy with them, right? Depends what's good for you. But basically here, as you can see, I saw the break, I liked the range, the structure. I find it very similar to other scenarios that I've been in. So I basically look to the left and I see that we've caused a major structure caused by this range. So basically, yeah, you got a step, you got a step now. Got a couple of steps there that you could follow when you see a break, it's simple. You see a break, you have a range. Did that range happen before something? If it did, then it's important. If it didn't, well, it's not that important, right? So yeah, let's see if it actually works out, because maybe it doesn't. Nah, it's straight got up there, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, just gotta keep that in mind. Just kind of respecting that for now. Let's give it a little bit of time. Okay, so see this pause. That pause didn't cost anything, right? Oh, actually, yeah, it did. It caused this break. It's not a major break. It's just a structure. It did take liquidity, caused a mitigation to this order block that we have up here. But I consider it demand, because as an example, this pause or this order block this range, for me, they are demand. They are areas that represent demand, right? So if one of them are broken, well, it can be considered as demand was broken, so supply basically took over the market, right? So what I'm trying to say here is an example. I could consider this easily as a flip, right? Demand to supply flip, and basically go for the range, the pause, whatever it cost that flip to happen. And I'm thinking something like this. Although the fact that we have such a large wake doesn't give me that much of a good feeling. I don't really want to cover the whole week either. So let's go for 40. Keep in mind that my spreads are as high as 4 ticks of spread and as low as 0. So I can't really say for sure, but if price gets as close as, let's call it 3 ticks of spread, I will be tagged out, right? So what I mean with that is if the candle gets from my stop loss 3 ticks, which will be that, I'm stopped out, right? Because due to spreads, even though price is at this level, I will be taken out. Okay, so for now this is my entry, and let's see what happens. Buy side, I could still consider this, but I prefer to see what happens with this major range before we actually start looking or continue to look for buys. Strong push up. Oh, me no likey. Okay. Again, here, even though this pause didn't break actually the structure that we would have wanted it to break, I do consider this demand. And as you can see, it actually is reacting. It is causing somewhat of a reaction. So when we cause this break, I could consider a trade here, just because of this break. Right, it's a soft structure break, but in my opinion, it's a potential good area to actually go for. Oh, come on. So it broke it. Okay, it broke it. I'd go for the extreme, and I think the extreme wasn't completely mitigated just yet. I was going to go for the 25. Let's see if it actually was mitigated. It wasn't. Okay, we're cool. I thought I was already mitigated, so the trade that I was going to place, this trade, shouldn't be placed, you know, or counted as I'm quite already seeing the results and everything. So for me, that's the trade for now. Now, this is kind of being a little bit aggressive with structure, because as an example, most people will consider the break here and not with just one candle. Same thing with this. So at this point, you wouldn't be inside of this trade, which could end up on a loss or could continue to go low, right? Continue to push down. So they most people, or a little bit of more passive kind of a trader, would actually wait for this structure to be broken before actually trading. But for me, this was enough, right? And plus this area, in my opinion, I could have even tried to take a risk entry in this one, because it took so much liquidity and then caused such a strong move to the downside that it just has enough confluences since that, just from that point of view, right? I'm definitely out there. I am definitely out. So we have 22. I actually went for 25 when I should have gone for either 30 or 28, as we have 22. 25 is just 3, so yeah, that's a shame. That was a bad call for me. Just went for slower range. A lower range, not slower. And as you can see, actually they continue to push lower. Well, for now. Okay, and it does. So yeah, that was a little bit of a down loss, sadly, but it is what it is. Let's continue to see what price does. With this trade, we could try to go lower, but we won't, right? We won't. What I will do, I think, is close at 4R. No, let's just let it run. We'll see what happens. Oh, okay, there you go. No, it's okay then. What time is it? It's very early in the morning, so I'm really not quite interested in stop trading. After a stop loss, after a take profit, sorry, you know that I take my time with the next trade. I don't just immediately go and take the next thing that I see. What I do see here, though, is that we took this liquidity. We still respected this order block. We took liquidity there. Now we continue to push higher. Have a pause there. So at that point, as an example, if I would have been a little bit more active, I might could have spotted this as liquidity and gone for the entry, basically basing myself on this instead of the whole range, right? And that's liquidity leading towards the 50 or the 25. As you know, I usually take it on the 25 on buys, and as it barely tapped the 25, I probably would have been missed. So even if it was the case that I actually placed this trade, I for sure would have said that basically I missed out on it due to the spreads and shit. Not quite good moves, not gonna lie. We're reacting to this. Didn't quite think about taking a trade here, not gonna lie. We could have had, as we did break a lot of structure. But well, it's already too late, so let's just ignore it for now. Let's get into a little bit of an aggressive trade here. I'm going to go for the 50 of this. Oh, but I have to make indicated. So I should have placed it on the 25, so it's kind of already a little bit too late for that. So let's say we placed it after this one. Price has to move all the way down to, at the very least, the 50 for me to be mitigated there. And stop loss, well, stop loss is pretty much the maximum, so 45 to 25. We'll see how long that lasts though, because it's not a very strong push up, but yeah. Okay, so I'm mitigating. Let's see if I stay in. Maybe. Okay, at that point I moved my stop loss at least at the 50% of my loss. So the reason behind this trade is the next. We basically were reacting to this. Not as strong as I would have expected this range to work, right? But we do come from a pretty good area that basically caused a pretty good break and nothing else, basically. We did take liquidity, so this is a sponsor candle, just as the range that we have up here. This is a sponsor candle. A sponsor candle is a candle that took liquidity. So yeah, the order block that actually took the liquidity, right? So yeah. So this is a sponsor candle. What happens later is that we have somewhat of a flip. Flip to the downside was this, break to the downside was this. So we could have tried to sell here, but it wasn't quite, I don't know. To be honest, I just realized that we had a flip and a break, to be honest. And I do like the bullish move for now. So what happens later? We have the flip. The flip is caused by this pause. Price came back to mitigate it. Pushed back up. This is the pause. Well, yeah, pause, huge thing, range. Basically, wanted to go in the 50s, so I would have definitely gone for the 25. As I was already in, I said, so let's say price on the next candle pushed here, I was not mitigated, right? But as price did come back down to more than the 50, then for me that was already good enough to be mitigated, to consider it as I was mitigated. As an example, if I wanted to continue to scale into this trade, I would go for this, as it is a pretty good and good looking pause, not gonna lie, and it also caused all of this. But I don't like doing scale lines, so for now I'll hold it. If I wanted to go higher, I could aim for somewhat of an order block, but I don't really want to go for higher, for something higher. We have 45, so I'm actually going to go for 4R, which is here. It might get to the 5R, but for me, 4R at this time of the day, after we had, well, 1 take profit and 2 losses, yeah, is pretty much enough, not gonna lie. Okay, let's take profit. Let's see if it actually gets to, yeah, it does get to the 5R. Okay, that's good. So we got 1% on this one, 1.25 on this one, minus 2 losses. Well, we'll still have to continue to see if anything happens to, you know, till 12, but I would say it stayed done for me. As an example, sometimes I do have the flip, I do have the break, but I just don't like this. And there are things that I just can't really explain. It maybe work, you know, it'll maybe work. It is, well, it isn't. There's just some structure that even though I don't have the confluences, I just don't trade, which is also in some cases the cause for me to missing out on a good trade that had the confluences, but it has actually made me miss out on a couple of losses from time to time, so can't really complain. So I think that's pretty much it, to be honest. I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of going for like 30 FPS for some reason. Kind of looks laggy. Since we have stopped the backtesting, give me 1 second. Well, it's kind of working better now. I don't know what it was. I just literally did this, and yeah, it was fixed. So yeah, let's just draw on the results. So we had 2 losses, if I remember correctly. Sorry, minus 0.25. Minus 0.25, plus 5R, sorry, plus 1.25, plus 1%, and that's basically 1.75. Right, do the math for me. So, I mean, might be wrong, you know, don't judge me. So, results of the back tests themselves. I actually should have not deleted the the price action of Monday. Let's just go. I wanted to do somewhat of a review or something like that, you know, talking about patterns and stuff. So let's talk about this. I just want to talk, you know, I want to continue to do something else with the video. We have a pretty good move, right? Pretty good move down. And with a pretty good move down comes a lot of good areas also, right? We have this good area, got this one that, as you can see, we have a range with a major push down. I have this one, which is a pretty good pause. We even have this one that kind of does work out for just a sec and everything. Why this one? For me, it comes down to something like this. Essentially, if we wanted to choose, if you wanted me to choose an area on this whole move, I choose this, and that's pretty much it. And this, if you compare this structure to this, they're kind of similar, right? And I don't know if I can actually explain the why behind it, but it's basically like, I do kind of realize that, as an example, this one took somewhat of liquidity that we have in the middle, right? So that's a sponsor candle, so that's actually good. Of course, the extreme, something like that, is always going to be better than all of the areas below it. I'm not saying to take always a risk entry there, but it's always a good area to basically just continue to consider as price goes on. But yeah, let's just talk about this one itself. I see a huge range after a long push. So this is somewhat of a huge pause, huge breath, however you want to take it, however you want to call it. At the same time, it took a lot of liquidity, so it's a pretty good confluence. And then from that point, basically just continues to push lower. We also have liquidity there, so you can see we do have somewhat of equal highs here. Pretty much a pretty good confluence. Then we even create more liquidity, and we create all of this structure later, right? So for me, that was a pretty good area. Not to take a risk entry, because as an example, for me, this is also a pretty good area. But as we do have that one, that in my opinion is just, I don't know, I just can't even explain how good for me it is. But it took so much liquidity, caused this whole movement, in my opinion, because at the same time, you could say, okay, but for me, the cause is this, right? Because that candle caused this, all of the move down, right? I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I can actually explain it. It's just that I see this high and I think it's strong. I see this high, I think it's strong, and I see this high and I think it's strong. Let's see on this side. Well, this one the same. I think it's basically swing points or something like that. I don't remember. So this low is strong. This low is strong, and on this move, I don't think. I mean, we could call this one like a low, but nah, I prefer this too, to be honest. So maybe it is after a good pullback, right? Or somewhat of swing points. A swing point will be something like this. So let's say you have this structure pushing down, blah blah blah, and then you have somewhat of something like this, and then you have another structure like this, and then you have a good structure like this, but that then it changes, and you have something like this, blah blah blah. So swing point, swing point, swing point, swing point, swing point. I just can't explain it. To be honest, I'm getting into something that I can't really explain, as I don't really use it that much, but it does help me identify basically stronger areas compared to others, because this one, as an example, that one, let's use that one. When you have a push like this, push down, at some point price will come up and take all of this liquidity, right? So if we looked at the long term, I do expect this high to be taken, including the order block I have there, right? Because all of that is liquidity. But these areas, as an example, strong areas, cause reactions to price, right? So as you can see, we had that area drawn, and it caused a complex pullback on this now bullish trend, right? This area that we have here, let's see what it caused. It caused a pretty strong structure, pretty strong reaction to it, right? And then we have that one. Did it react to this one? Well, we could say that it is, although this one, let's actually see where it is. It's a pretty clean area, not gonna lie, so probably just this, those two candles. Kind of reacting to that. But yeah, I didn't realize I had reacted to that one already. Those are swing points. To be honest, I don't really use them because, as you know, I don't really use the higher time frames, just to have a couple favorites marked and stuff like that. But yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit more, as the video ended up being a little bit shorter than expected, but at the same time, I just get tired. My voice gets tired, as you can hear easily. And I don't like doing cuts, because a cut of 5 minutes, I could see what happens ahead, and I don't want people thinking that, And even the pause that I took to turn on the lights, you can see that it was a few seconds. I can't really do that much in a couple of seconds. So 4.4% in just a few days, just 2 days actually. Couple of mini losses in my opinion. This loss, I think it's valid. This one was dumb. I mean, at the very least, I usually do keep in mind this pass high. As an example, I probably will never actually keep in mind that one. As we're talking about, we already reacted to the order block that we would consider that week in. So then we have this one, and I just want to consider this structure and maybe the previous one, right? So if I want to take this trade, let's actually delete all this. If I want to take this one right here, I will consider the previous structure. The previous structure to what area I'm trading, right? So if I wanted to trade this area here on this trade, I would consider this structure, so the previous structure, right? So sometimes I have an area, let's say you have an order block like this. And let's say, okay, we have something like this. So our order block. And we now mitigate that. Sorry, no, it's not like it. Okay, let's just do it like this. And we have that. And now we have this whole area. So you can see that this order block that we could now trade at didn't completely mitigate the whole area. So as an example, when I take a trade, I'm always traumatized that it could easily just go a little bit higher, feel somewhat of a tiny gap that we may have inside of this order block that we just didn't feel the first time, go a little bit higher above my order block, and then continue to push lower. Because it has happened to me. That's why I'm traumatized, And that's why I usually go for pauses, because it's not something I actually have to worry about in pauses. There's just a pause. It doesn't come from anyone, from anything, basically. So I think that's pretty much really everything that I wanted to do here. I think it was a pretty good backtesting session. We didn't have a negative day as we did the other time. Probably because we didn't do Wednesday. Well, yeah, on the next backtesting session, we could do Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, or Thursday and Friday. So I guess that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Any questions, any commentaries, anything that you would like to tell me, please for sure, feel free to do it through either YouTube's commentaries or Instagram, whatever you choose. I'll probably find it. So it's pretty much all, guys. I'll be seeing you soon.